Right. Okay, okay. So at the minute, I'm going to let the viewers count up. I can already see one so far. So hello, whoever you are. Just give myself a wee drink of juice so we can crack on with this topic. Right. Okay. Right, so yeah, I'm just gonna let numbers build up, give it a minute or two, see what happens with it. Right, we've got one person, so in a wee 30 seconds, I'm going to get on with talking about the Tories. If anyone's interested in the way I'm going to be approaching this massive topic, I'm going to start right away from the earliest point, bringing it up and over to current, and maybe talk about the future. Hopefully so. So, without further ado, I'm going to be starting to talk about the Tories. I don't know if it should be a Wall of Fame episode or not. That's up to yourselves. If you want it to be a Wall of Fame episode, just put in WOF Bojo and we will get this going. So, in the late 70s, early 80s, the Tories came into power and they were vile and fucking ruthless. I'm aware about Edwina Curry, but we're going to be focusing on Maggie Thatcher. She, compared to other ones, was the most satanic, I would say, between the others and her. She was thirsty for blood, right? And she didn't even fucking hide it for number one. So that's how things were. I mean, like, we all remember a closure of like things like Woodley, the coal facilities, the destruction of Greenock, and various policies of Inverclyde. This is only just examples in Scotland. What about Darlington? What about Derby? What about places like Redrow? Anyway, if I listed all the names, we'd be here to next summer. But ultimately, she performed a multi-area assault on the United Kingdom. She also performed an assault on young and old, male and female, straight and gay, black and white, the whole fucking lot was up for her game, and she, within her power time, she really did put the United Kingdom to its knees. Loads of unemployed, loads of bad feeling between ex-miners and Maggie Thatcher. Uh, it was absolutely awful. She literally every direction of life you could fathomably think she had by the nads. Right? Eventually, the Tory era came to an end, approximately the 90s, and the people that came in after the Tories had left was Labour. A lot of people dislike Labour for mainly reason around the what's it called, the Iraq War. But ultimately, first of all, yes, it was an unpopular war, but it flushed Osama bin Laden out. It flushed Saddam Hussein out. But one thing is very, very, very clear and patently clear actually. There was absolutely a massive underfunding of things like, the army's equipment, the army's planes, the uniforms, various other forms of equipment I don't actually know the name of right just now. Lots and lots of people died. Lots and lots of thousands of people died. Correction. Dot dot dot. So yeah, that was absolutely unacceptable. But because of Barack Obama's absolute energy at the end, Osama bin Laden was found down a stank, dragged up, and executed for what he's done, quite rightly. Yeah, so that was that. But I was getting back to we're at a stage where we're talking about Labour, and the thing is, other people have other things to whine about Labour, but I always remember who brought in things like the bus concession cards, the DLA, giving lots of types of funding to other walks of life. Who did that? Scotch Mist? I don't think so. So, although a lot of people didn't like Tony Blair, you wouldn't be where you're at without him. Now, unfortunately, the Labour generation came to an end approximately 2007, and what got voted in? The Tories. Now, I just want to stop here and have a casual little segue into things, right? The thing is, see if you put your hand on something like a hot radiator and it burns your hand, automatically in your head you're saying to yourself, "I'm a fuck do that again," right? But a generation, you know, the generation, seen what Tories did in the 80s, yet they wanted the Tories back in for the 00 years. Uh, that's it. There we go. Right. Anyway, right. So yeah. So basically, the Labour era, I would call it the 90s to early 2000s, came to an end. And what did the public want back in? Tories. I mean, like, fucking dunces. Like, I will say one thing. As I said previously about, burn your hand in the radiator, mentally you go, well, I'm a fuck doing that again. But that logic totally escapes the public. Whoosh, right? I mean, the same sort of logic, right? See if you get a coffee cup and it's pure full of mad, amazing coffee and you burn your tongue on it, you normally desist from drinking the coffee for maybe a wee minute or two until the temperature comes down a bit. That is kind of, it's called once bitten, twice shy logic. But the general public, whether they are risk averse or gluttons for punishment or just borderline stupid, who knows? But ultimately, with regard to that situation, I can't diagnose people because ultimately, I'm no doctor, I'm no psychiatrist, I'm no psychologist, I'm nothing. I'm dog shit, right? So that's that. Yeah. So basically, from about 2007 to current day, we've had Tories in, and to be honest, it's been one hell of a run. Luckily, in some ways, they've not been quite. Ah, let's go, Brandon. Hashtag 2024. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you. Cheers. That's nice to have a wee word with you there. Yeah, so I don't get the idea of the public wanting to inflict punishment on top of themselves yet again. I just don't get it. It's crazy. It's loopy. I mean, for instance, I bumped my hand inside the tumble dryer getting the clothes out. Guess what I did? For the next time to go in the tumble dryer, I proceeded with more caution or waited for the thing to be sitting for 5 minutes before actually opening the door. It's just a general thing. Uh, well, how did I manage by my hands in a dryer door? Normally, people wait maybe 2 3 minutes and after it became stationary, after it comes to an end. But I was short for time. I bust it open. Right. Ah, yeah, fucker. That's my fingers. Right. And yeah, that's basically bad timing on my part. So yeah, the I just don't get how people would want to inflict that level of torture upon themselves again. It's bad enough in the A's. Why repeat it again? And to be honest, when it comes to it, the whole thing with the whole thing with it repeating itself again. I mean, people have actually voted these absolute fucknuts in. I don't really know why or how. I'm literally speechless, and you could probably hear it. And like it's how can the public be so gullible, impressionable, possibly vulnerable, and basically bring back and far around to me. That's like, may I use this metaphor? It's a bit like going into a ring with Conor McGregor. He bends you over and fucks you up the jatsy. You slither back out to get fixed, and you come back in for sloppy seconds. It's fucking crazy. It's just bonkers. And I'm not even getting close to the COVID bit yet, but I'll continue. And always remember one thing, folks. I want to stop you for a few seconds. If you want me to do a wall of fail episode on Boris Johnson, what you do is you type in WOF space Boris Johnson, and I will do it. I think loads of thousands of people would love to do it, but because I'm here near the camera, blah blah blah, I could do it easy. But anyway, so yeah, the whole shit show of Brexit. I know. I mean, I don't know all the kind of technicalities and intrinsicals, but basically, it was started up by a UKIP idea. Then David Cameron put the question out to people: "Are you wanting Brexit?" People turned around and said, "Yeah, that was a mammoth shot, by the way." And guess what? Again, David Cameron was actually not interested in Brexit, but everyone went Brexit, and as soon as he seen the result, he couldn't get out number 10 faster than a bloody rat up a dream pipe. It was shocking. So, because of that, we've had change after change after change of Prime Minister, and every one of them have been about as useful as a shit full fucking nappy or a spunky condom or whatever you want me to compare it to. It's just gobsmacking as well. So it cuts. The changes to benefit. Oh yeah, universal credit. That's actually a topic in its own right because I could seriously talk about it for literally hours. We could have a sleep in me talking about universal credit and they post it as a good idea, but actually, if you look at it, it's a total fucking shit show. But I think to keep things kind of succinct and within maybe around about 30-minute tight boxing, we're going to we're going to move over to the point where Boris Johnson got sworn in. Bastard, cunt, bastard, shitbag, wanker. There we go. I saw Boris Johnson in there. Anyway, Boris Johnson, you fucking shit cunt. Anyway, right, we've done enough swearing of Boris Johnson. So yeah, it it just didn't look right for the job. He looked like a fucking donkey. Goofy haircut, like as if he upturned a mop, swashed it on his head, and go, I'm Boris Johnson. Take me fucking seriously, mate. Tribute, right? And that's fucking hilarious. But like in the Commons, watching him was kind of like watching somebody trying to give life speeches on acid. It was oh, right. Aye. So it was quite at times funny, but the dangerous part of Boris Johnson is the fact, to be honest, he's so indecisive about things. He's actually causing harm, and it was just you know his indecisiveness and his slightly goofy ways behaving, all that stuff as a politician. I mean, I know you've got to be serious, but you've got to have your moments where you can let your hair down. But his hair isn't exactly lying down; it's fucking everywhere. Oh, scheisse. Yes, I do know about a German, but anyway, yeah, I mean that was a general note across the years of Boris Johnson's career is goofy, and he knows, like, for instance, he was talking about Peppa Pig in an unrelated conversation. He just slapped Peppa Pig in it, make sure that was going to make him be taken seriously. My fucking arse is actually the reaction to that. I wouldn't want to show Boris Johnson my ass. I'm sure it's It's much better than him. But anyway, yeah, it's just been seriously like over his kind of time span up to this living point has been absolute, absolute goofiness. Nothing you could take seriously, indecisiveness, and occasions hypocrisy. Remember, I'm not talking about COVID yet because that's a mammoth fucking topic to go by. But anyway, ultimately, he's a misfit. Irony! I might be a misfit, I know, but anyway, you'll never see me doing Prime Minister job, I can tell you that. But anyway, yeah, so comes along 2020, COVID 19, right? And up to the 23rd of March 2020, there was a lot, at least 6 weeks, where Boris Johnson was actually humming and hawing and being very indecisive about the matter, about closing the country down, having everyone in. There was so much indecisiveness in the debating chamber, it was absolutely ridiculous. And even in other parts of political business that he was doing, it was just, there was so much indecisiveness. We did go into lockdown on the 23rd of March 2020, and we came out of it in a staged way, but ultimately, health experts all across the world were actually saying he pulled out too early. That's what she said. But ultimately, that's what we're dealing with, right? Boris had cut out, and I would say yes, absolutely too early. Right. What's that? I'm putting the machine.
I'll put it in.
Alright, okay. Oh, at the moment,
I'll
live
make a
emergency.
cup of tea in a minute.
Oh, right, okay. I'll do it. Right.
Well, I could do it just now.
No, I'll do it. So good.
Milky tea.
Yes, yes.
Strong
Yes,
tea.
yes.
Nice
Okay.
cup of tea for me.
Excellent. Right. But yeah, it was quite clear we pulled it too early, and luckily my country, Scotland, actually we were able to get more protective cover. Nicola Sturgeon believed we were pretty much being sent up the Ganges, and due to that, we didn't come out of lockdown for at least another 6 months. And that, although it be a controversial topic, she really did actually help a lot of people compared. Alright, cool. I Nicola did things Boris wouldn't. Right? I would say Nicola did a whole lot of stuff Boris Johnson couldn't really even be cared for, to be fair. And yeah, if we can fast forward again into 2021, right? There were photos, videos, and various other things, including documents, actually coming to the surface, insinuating the Tories in Westminster are actually having parties whilst we were all locked down and uh, shielding our own health. Just a minute, I'm just going to answer a wee question. There's a guy or lady called Lita. Right. Okay, hiya. hello, first of all, and I want to say, who do I think should be Prime Minister? To be honest, somebody or anybody who isn't a Tory. And yeah, My Chemical Romance, yeah, I've known My Chemical Romance as far back as 12 years old. So, yeah, and the music, no matter what people say about it, it's, I would say it's a type of music, no matter if you like it or you hate it, you've experienced it. So that's my thought on the matter. Just getting my mum's coffee poured. I'll get one, folks. But yeah, first of all, is that lady Angela Stratton? That bit of video that was leaked of her sitting there. I mean, I think the camera operative on that occasion was even pissed as well, because you don't have cameras at that set of mad angles. That was just absolutely crazy. I'm just doing a quick delivery, folks. So be a moment. Right. Right. Go.
Gonna get this.
Vicky, right. Is it this?
Yeah, you can take two out.
Right.
I don't need the whole jar, Andrew. I don't need a keg out,
Right. Excellent. Cool.
That's lovely. Nice cup of tea. Thank you.
No problem. Right. Okay, so yeah, look at it. Make Scotland great again. Hopefully it will be great again. So yeah, the butterfly thing is actually that's actually a chime, as you hear. Yeah, so Angela Stratton was the first one to get exposed. You ever notice that Angela Stratton never got cancel cultured yet? What the fuck's in that logic, isn't it? Alright, I got a wee request. That was a chime I bought from Amazon, and it was about £8 or £9, including the delivery. So yeah, Angela Stratton seemed to be the one that kind of opened up the floodgates, and other people and more people. And Boris Johnson got exposed, and all the police got involved. Don't get me started in that Barnard Castle up in Durham during the actual lockdown. Dominic, is it don't comes? I just get the name right. Apparently, people at Durham denounce him. What's Dominic Cummings? Anyway, so yeah, what happened? Uh, what happened with Mr. Cummings? Apparently, he had COVID. His eyes were stinging, so he drove up to Durham. What will Durham do to help his eye issue or his alleged COVID? Here's the answer: sweet fuck all. Fucking no. Hey, I had a sore stomach during the week, right? Did that send me down to Manchester? It didn't. Yeah, it's it's just absolutely it's mind bending what the Tories have been doing in the first gen, 70s to 80s, and then the new gen, zero zeros upwards. Zero zero means 2000 plus upwards, right? I just it's just beyond words. But yeah, and then towards the latter end of this whole situation with Boris getting exposed, He did some stupid speech and made references to Peppa Pig. To be honest, oh right, okay, wait a wee second. I'll answer this because this is a big, good question. Right, okay. What is a Tory? Okay, I'll try and explain. Tory must be a nickname for the Conservatives or people that work in and around Westminster that are conservative. And yeah, that's probably the quickest way to describe it, to be honest. Um, if you are going around the United Kingdom, I mean, a lot of people will know me to be a very heavy traveller, and quite often when I'm going from city to city, I see things like Carlisle Conservative Club, Preston Conservative Club, Bristol Conservative Club, etc., etc., etc. Conservative is their political standpoint, and the uh, social clubs are like they're somewhat like bars, but you've actually got to sign up to it and give some form of oh uh, I uh, I'm hoping I'm enunciating this right. Leakta. You were saying about being called that word. It's a horrible word. Really, it's a really nasty word to hear, let alone be a recipient of. It's just absolutely grim. But the only thing I can say is just keep your head up high. And me, I'm actually not gypsy. I'm actually Glaswegian. Uh, so basically, Glaswegian is a part of Scottish. So yeah, it's Glasgow can be a very interesting place to live in, to be honest. So yeah, the police got involved with all these uh, Corona rule breakers. I would nickname them because this wasn't an isolated incident. I don't actually know any gypsy friends, but you never know; it could still happen. So yeah, it was it's absolutely it was the investigations were quite fast and frequent, to be honest, with regard to the Conservatives in Westminster having parties when everyone else was locked down, saving their health, etc. And obviously, that really, really noised up the general public, and it noised up other political campaigns. Um, yeah, it was just and when I read about that stuff, you know, I don't really read newspapers, but I've got various things on the internet I read, and I just couldn't believe the temerity. We were all working hard to keep ourselves safe. We were all doing things like Zoom calls instead of attending work or attending an interview. So we were doing things from online. We were doing all sorts of stuff to make sure that we were safe. The use of masks, the use of hand gel, you name it, we were doing it. And guess what the people in Westminster were doing? Sitting there getting pissed, happy as Larry, nibbling on cheese. I don't know what kind of cheese they had. Was it anything like Gouda? Was it Red Leicester? Was it Stilton? Or was it just straight up knob cheese? I don't really know, to be fair. And yeah, it's just and since everyone and it even got Ant Deck from the famous TV show called Saturday Night Takeaway, taking the piss out of Boris Johnson. To be honest, if I had enough time, I would have took to YouTube and took the piss out of Boris Johnson myself. But ultimately, I'm too entrapped in other things. But yeah, alright. Somebody's asking, what is Happy Larry? I think if it's Happy Larry is a Scottish phrase, and it basically means carefree, devoid of worry. Yeah, I think that's probably the really quickest way to kind of get straight to the punchline, if you get me. But it was, you know, people are getting pissed off. Politicians were getting pissed off. I was getting pissed off. The whole shebang. Even the cats outside were hissing at Boris Johnson, right? And Boris is like, I'm not going to be going. I'm not going. Spare me your accusations, etc. And it's like, really, really, and he got a fine from, I believe it's Central London Police, for the rule breaks. And even more rule breaks came to surface, more and more. There was a what you call I think it's sort of like a trust vote went out. I think a confidence vote, a vote of confidence. All right. Yeah, Leaked. I'll do my best with that. Hopefully throughout the video, and also to know when this video becomes not live, it'll be still on my YouTube channel. So you're more than happy to just click the link after it comes off. But in yeah, I the government kind of formed a kind of it's a small election that only happens on when there's a lot of people that are uh, displaying kind of a lack of faith in that prime minister, and whatever was going on. To be honest, with things on the vote, Boris Johnson actually did win the confidence vote, but although he won the confidence vote, it's a bit like Maggie Thatcher again. It's history repeating itself entirely. And, you know, although the confidence vote went through fine, in all honesty, that doesn't make anything secure. It just doesn't. It really just doesn't. And oddly enough, there were a few more other incidents within that month I mentioned. And then suddenly puts out Boris Johnson is going to be no more. Boris Johnson is no more party, I nickname it. And he said, yep, I'm going to be handing myself in, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, the actual route map to get a new Prime Minister is long. And he put in his hat, basically, that means he had sacked himself approximately 3 weeks ago, and alright, I'll explain that in a wee moment. So he handed in his resignation, but it takes 2 calendar months to get a new prime minister. Is that new prime minister going to be any better than him? Probably not. Probably not in that. absolute entirety. There's nothing going to be good with from replacing one Tory with another. It's just not going to happen. But I guess I guess it might be a bit better actually. Really, if you think of it, because Boris Johnson has a mindset of a 4-year-old, right? And this hopeful person coming through next will be hopefully will be much, much, much more decisive and much, much more relevant because Boris Johnson, honestly, there's more use going out into the street and smearing the road surface with oil than having anything to do with him. I mean, if ever Boris Johnson came up to me and started talking about Peppa Pig, I'd Will Smith him. But yeah, so hopefully by this point we've got we've went from the 70s all the way to current day. And the only general thing I will say is I'm absolutely gobsmacked, flabbergasted that the general public wanted to inflict themselves with Tories Mark II. Like, I mean, I've heard of people having like what's it called, self harm ideations, but to actually want this Boris Johnson or the Tories in total, the Conservatives, to rule for a second run, I find it absolutely, absolutely mind bending. I'm just going to check in. To answer that question, I believe the answer would be in mid 2000s. I think it was 2007. This is when basically the Tories got sworn in at a general election, and it seems from the voting demographics, it's all English counties and districts and cities. But I probably sound a bit of a record. I probably sound like a broken record player by saying I do not understand why anybody would want to vote Tories in for a second round after the amount of destruction, carnage, and societal cancer caused by a Conservative Party in round one. Why go for round two? I just do not get it in any remotest cadence. To be honest, it's just like why? For instance, uh, although this is a paintbrush, just pretend it's a hammer and I've accidentally struck my thumb with it while I was putting a nail in, right? Automatically it's painful. And two, I would learn from what I had done the last time, e.g., maybe not wear my glasses when I was actually putting uh, the nail meeting the hammer. And to actually have Tory experience count to just no. Personally, if I was the public, I'd do everything to make sure there's absolutely no going to be any reoccurrence. But whatever's wrong with the public at this point in time, whether they're a bit vulnerable, whether they're a bit glutton for punishment, uh, whether they're not informed enough, which shouldn't be. This whole situation shouldn't be. People should never go for round number two, and hopefully round number three. I mean, there are governments through the world where they've had a run in with a bad political shower, and never once do they have that group in again. It's almost like a ban. X government ruined X country, and therefore they're banned from ruling for, let's say, 20 years, and that sells the issues for a good while. But the thing I don't quite understand with the public is they've went through a torrid time with the Conservatives, but they still vote them back. It's just, it's, it's just, I don't understand, to be fair. All right, what party am I? To be honest, although it sounds vague, any party apart from Conservative is the party I would take up. I'd maybe take one of these, lesser heard ones. During a Scottish election, there was references to Cannabis Party. Interesting. I need to do a lot more research into it to be here. All right. Somebody's asking for a shout out. Right. Okay. Yusuf. Right. Okay. Yusuf. Although we haven't met, I just want to say hi. Yeah. I think my political views, because I've seen the damage that's happened before I was born. Obviously, I didn't see it through a Ouija board. I seen what I needed to see from the Tory generation one, through newspapers, videos, TV shows, all the rest of it, and all I've witnessed at least 11 years of Tory terror. Tories are automatically off the back of my hand. Are awful. Shit in my shoe. Right? And the phrase shit in my shoe just basically means horrible. The Tories are shit on my shoe. Oh, so in your country you don't allow voting? Well, you never know. It could change, and then you'll be able to bring in a government. So it's always a good thing to vote. I definitely dare say so. Um, yeah, I mean, the way the things have happened politically in this country, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. To be honest, horrified. But sort of like, if you leave the public to run something, you'll come back to it 5 minutes later and it's a grade A shit show. The metaphorical car is turned upside down, the wheels are off, flames are shooting every fucking direction. It's just right. Let's go, Brandon. Okay. It's a good point, to be honest. Uh, to be honest, probably answering that question, I think I mentioned briefly about it just only about a minute ago, and I would go for one of the less known parties, because the big known parties at the minute, they can be, let's say, deceptive. Is probably the nicest word to say, and the smaller ones. I mean, if I'm talking to the small political people in the town, you can tell there's a different viewpoint on the matter, and they're a lot less artificial. If you want to talk the real stuff with a smaller political canvasser in the town, then you will be able to get on with absolutely no problem at all. So, yeah, I would say hopefully give somebody that is like, lesser known a shout, because quite often when in all forms of this, the big hot shots, the big dicks, they get they get first dibs at everything. Yet the weird smaller guys, they barely even get a look at, or barely even get a notice in the first place. I would definitely have a listen to what the smaller guys have to see and see what comes from it. To be honest, so that's where is the future for United Kingdom? Well, first of all, we've got that new Prime Minister coming in on the 5th of September. Where things will go next, I actually don't know. Will there ever be a general election in the next 2 years? I don't know, but the only bit of advice, and this has probably come to the kind of end bit where I'm here, I would definitely say, one thing. If we do get a general election, absolutely everybody should take the opportunity and actually sit down and ask yourself, this is our chance to get out away from Tories. Let's get it done. And what your I call a voting stance. What's your voting stance is nothing to do with me. It's about you, yourself, and your heart. Right? Do something to get us away from the Tory tyranny, and vote with your heart to get a bigger, better, and safer United Kingdom, because I think we can all understand, and basically we can all relate to the fact that we've had one mammoth shit rough ride with little or no benefit out of the matter. And honestly, we've had a prime minister that has lied, a prime minister that has broke the rules, a prime minister that's hammered Brexit in, whether we liked it or not. But also, the way he did it was so fucking wrong. It's unbelievable. But ultimately, if we do get a general election, this is an election that covers the full United Kingdom. I want you to be voting with only one thing in your head: how do I get rid of the Tories? Simple answer: voting for anything but. Oh, I'm just reading a wee comment there. Vote no stronger together. I think are you talking about the independence one or the Brexit one? Because yeah, definitely so. Uh, an interesting side note whilst we're here, right? I actually didn't vote in Brexit. I deliberately deferred doing it. I just didn't. I just did not bother with Brexit. In fact, me and a mate, we met up. We met a mine. We got very intoxicated, and by the time the end of the night, to be honest, to be honest, by the time me and he sobered out, the amount of political stuff on the telly had kind of became less intense. So yeah, I suppose getting a bit intoxicated actually saved us from a myriad of absolute bollocks that was on telly all day long. But yeah, I like general couple of things. the only couple of things I can say at the next general, vote any direction, every direction, but not Tory. But just make sure you run this by yourself. Ask yourself the question: how would I vote to get rid of uh, the Tories or Conservatives, as they're known as? The answer is vote anything but. You could even vote for the fucking cannabis club. You could vote for. You could vote for even Labour. You could even vote the Greens, whatever. That is doing. That is doing probably the best. Uh, just getting a few comments. So yeah, so this is like the end point where I'm just kind of getting comments and stuff. I'm just going to sit myself down because I've been sitting for nearly an hour, and honestly, my legs are about ready to break in two. But yeah, it's been a crazy, I would say, 13, 14 years Tory rule, and, and honestly, it's just it's absolutely bonkers, really, because as I say, it's like if you burn your hand, right? Surely to goodness, um, surely to goodness, it's you learn from what happened. What's that? Just I'm just catching up on the chat logs, folks. Uh, yeah, I mean, the independence conversation has been mentioned again, uh, and Nicholas talking about bringing a second referendum in, and I can honestly see why people are wanting a second referendum. Although I'm kind of neutral on the topic, I can understand why. So, Lita, you're saying put all the toys in a box and shoot them. Well, I suppose that's a bit extreme, but okay. But yeah, I can understand why people are looking to give independence a try. I mean, I'm a bit neutral, as I say, but the amount of stuff that we have seen in the last 6 years uh, alone has made people basically just start switching over, and that's probably a good thing. Nicola did really help us during our lockdown. She made sure we were under the right protections at the right time for the right amount of time. Boris just wanted the country opened up within about 3 or 4 months of lockdown. He got bored of it. He stopped doing his daily chit chats and everything else. But even at the 5 stage month, we still needed chit chats, and we Nicola Sturgeon, and she happily just did it. She she did things a wee bit better. Right, I'm going to be heading off in the next 30 seconds, but it's been an utter pleasure talking to absolutely everyone. Let's go, Brandon 2024. Yeah, nice to meet you as well, Mr. Leakta or Miss Leakta. I just want to say I just want to say, yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you. To be fair, absolute pleasure meeting you. So, whatever you're doing with the rest of your, whatever you're doing with your Saturday night, folks, I just honestly hope the best for you. And cheers, everyone. Peace out.